І зброя, і гроші.
Мене ж сюди як фашиста запросили. ЛГБТ-спільнота – це ідеологічний ворог. Фер, слухай.
Further, listen. What's your exact address? Because I don't quite remember how to get there. Okay.
Окей. Давай.
Okay, that's sorted.
Мене звуть Дмитро
My name is Dmytro Riznychenko. I'm a former nationalist blogger, former member of the neo-Nazi group C14. I'm a war veteran, a volunteer.
Групування С-14, ветеран війни, доброволець. До революції.
Before the Euromaidan revolution, my main purpose, my goal and mission, as I saw it, was to propagate Ukrainian nationalism, conservative values, and neo-Nazism in all its various forms and manifestations, and the fight against the regime. When I had just started practicing martial arts, I read the book Fight Club, which conveys an absolute and all-encompassing hatred for the modern world. An absolute cult of hatred, and if you follow it to its logical conclusion, then it will lead to either complete nihilism of an anarchic character or to Nazism. I thought at the time that I had to either die or better yet kill somebody. Do something that would leave a mark for all eternity. You can leave a mark on eternity either through science or art, or through good old ultra-violence. Maybe I wasn't cut out for science, and I missed my chance for art, so that left ultra-violence. In 2014, the Maidan process happened, and the end of Maidan, to a large extent, was the beginning of the end of my nationalism and neo-Nazism. I think I still consider myself a nationalist, but a Nazi, part of that subculture, definitely not anymore. In 2012, I ended up on the cover of the New York Times during a fight with the Berkut riot police because of this beautiful gesture where I'm spraying these cops. Last year I started a fight in the Committee for Veterans and War Invalids issues. I smashed the face of Colonel General Viktor Pali.
Кто вам дал право называть эти ленточки колорадскими? Если вы знаете историю, были...
Мабуть, можуть ще згадати по моїм фронтовим запискам.
Maybe people still remember my observations from the front and how I managed to get injured in the 2014 Battle of Ilovaisk. It was not a serious injury. See, this is where I got shot. Almost no scar. It was a light break. It flew right through my arm. When I got injured and the commander ordered me back to the rear with the medics, I felt relief and happiness. I will never forgive myself for feeling happy. I don't regret a single instance of smashing in a cop's face, not one. What about smashing the face of General Viktor Pali, the ex-head of Ukraine's Director of Intelligence? I was too easy on him. From the outset, I'm against violence, I'm for dialogue. Only like American sniper Chris Kyle said, it's a lie to say that violence doesn't solve problems. Violence does solve problems. It's just that when you're a neo-Nazi, you're sure that violence is the universal method for solving all problems. And to a large extent, that's all you can offer the world. Endless, absolute violence.
Абсолютне насилля.
Tanya and I met the spring before last, when I was the primary instigator of destroying an exhibition by anarchist artist Dmytro Riznychenko. At that moment, Tanya belonged to the same anarchist organization as the artist, so we met. She and her then boyfriend, and I with my then wife, we all met and talked, and discovered that our differences were not so great. She would come by every day or two, and we would talk and talk. We met like that for a month, talking and talking, finding out that, damn, we have so much in common. And now, we've been together for a year and a half. For Furka.
You were supposed to be there.
Listen, I'm sorry. I made the dough, it's rising, and I made the filling.
You know, we're leaving tomorrow.
I know. Listen, can you clean up in the living room? My older daughter. Listen, I want to go to Austria to visit Yigal. I have a friend whom I've never seen before. He's gay, Jewish and Ukrainian patriot. A great guy. He's done a lot of good. Then he got cancer and had to leave for Austria for treatment.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Did you miss me?
Yep.
Ми на той момент, коли ми перетнулися,
When we met, we were both really searching.
шукали. Ми вже були
We were disenchanted with our respective movements and what we had encountered.
ми стикалися.
This is an ad for the exhibition.
Yes, get this.
Це виставка цих про геїв, які
It's an exhibition about the gay men who fought in the war. And one of the guys from my battalion, he came out not too long ago. And he's going to be in it as the headliner because the others are keeping a low profile and he showed his face. The exhibition is called We Were Here.
Ми були тут, називається виставка.
У мене дуже є багато знайомих, які зараз там в окопах на передовій.
І вони геї.
Так, геї і з автоматами мочать москалів.
В тебе в батальйоні був гей?
Разом з...
Не знаю, не перевіряв, якщо чесно.
Нет.
Всё.
Вот этот зеленый набрал.
А на що ви його? Ладно. То Барклай малював.
Barclay, our lieutenant, painted that. He was the cartographer. It's called the Donbas Melancholy. We served in the 46th Division, in the separate specially designated volunteer battalion Donbas of the Ukrainian Armed Forces.
We're renting this apartment together and we've hung different flags on each side. Those are the leftist ones.
We'll throw some mushrooms in here.
Thanks, Dad.
На здоров'я.
You're welcome.
Був італійський.
There was a flag from Italy circa World War II under Mussolini, and a Japanese imperial one. I bought the Japanese imperial flag in a military surplus store. We once printed the Nazi flag in C14, I remember.
Колись надрукували ще всі 14, пам'ятаю.
And they hung on that side. They were my greatest pride.
Найбільша моя гордість.
Вони в мене всі з різних протестів позовуть.
Mine are all left over from various protests. The anarcho-feminist one, which I've taken to the most demonstrations, in today's discourse it's the most relevant because it so happens that now the feminist movement and the LGBT movement are perhaps the most progressive, and the aggression of the ultraright is directed mostly at them.
Агресія ультраправих саме на них направлена.
Вона ж сприймається людьми.
It's perceived by people in Nazi circles with a kind of joyful rush, actually. It feels good to be, or at least think you are intimidating, and that people are afraid of you. It's not hard to make the Nazi salute, like, why not? Or look at me, and you make the salute, and for some reason people get scared, and you think, huh, what fraidy cat? You're frightening, and they're trembling, how cool. Well, that basically is the appeal of this aesthetic.
Захоплення цією естетикою.
Здебільшого люди лівіше.
For the most part, people move further to the left. They either become liberals or leftists. Very rarely does someone go from left to right. If you stand up for the rights of various minorities, it's highly unlikely you'll become a Nazi. Yes, people very often associate the left with the Soviet Union, but at the same time, now it's associated more with the LGBT movement and the feminist movement. And the fascists mostly fight against this. The ultra-right are in essence conservative. These are people who want society to be as hierarchical as possible, while leftists are for progress, and this division still stands.
Розподіл він досі актуальний.
Головна біда, як я розумію,
The main problem with this entire subculture, as I see it, is that it promotes regarding other people as shit and yourself as the best. I know a lot of people who came back from the war and could have gotten a little wiser, because they saw a lot there. And maybe they'd be glad to forget all this. But what does he return to? All his friends are Nazis. Everything he's accomplished in his life is respect only in this subculture and nowhere else. And if a person leaves this subculture, at some point they get wiser and suddenly realize that all this is a fraud, complete shit. There are many like this, and they are left with nothing but to quietly withdraw and understand that there is nothing in life but this shithole. All that he can do, everything he once had, is some bit of authority in this little group, and the world at large sees you as an angry outcast and fears you.
тебе дивиться як на лютого маргінала і побоюється. Теоретично його треба тепер.
In theory, now you have to leave it alone and let it rise again.
Піднялося. Тато ніколи такого не зробив би.
Dad would never do anything like this. She learned by herself. It's a new record.
No, it's not.
No? Hold on. It was 9. Okay, fine. You're still a champ.
Хороший результат.
Ми дуже багато.
We argued a lot, actually.
And to a large extent, we still argue. Recently, we almost got into a fight over the question of race.
Ні, ну насправді ми реально...
No, seriously, we were really debating all the time, and there were moments when I thought, oh my god. In the beginning, I was really shocked by how easily Dima beat people.
Просто він бив людей.
What do you mean, beat people?
Ну, коли...
In situations where I would not have hit someone, they were aggressive people, of course, bad people, but still very easily.
Дуже просто.
Да.
Yes, but I don't really remember Tanya getting particularly upset about this. She looked on with these big eyes, thinking, what? You can do that? Like, you can just start with this from the very beginning?
Right, I'm not actually that outraged.
Рік ми на кухні...
We spent a year sitting in the kitchen, no way to escape from one another, and talking. I remember giving up position after position. I would stand up for something, and then spend a long time thinking it over. And this wasn't like propaganda that you can see or not see. Here is a person before you, explaining point by point, and there is nowhere else to go. That took a year. And at the same time, I love her, so it's not like just listening to some person I don't like and with whom I have to quibble. No. She began to comprehend that violence is actually a method.
Це такий метод.
Ліві ліберали не відповідають на ультраправе насильство.
Leftists and liberals don't retaliate against ultraright violence, although they ought to. When the ultraright are met with a response to the violence, they run away. They were running away from our building. I don't know. I've never seen people run like that. It was like they were running, and then suddenly turned around and ran back. These were the boys from C14. They fucked up. I don't know. They're all like that. So yes, I do now consider violence an appropriate method, but only as a response.
Але коли мова йде про відповідь.
Було знамените інтерв'ю у Майкла Щура.
There was a fantastic interview by Michael Schur, rather a discussion, where I was representing the ultra-right and Bogdan Globa, the side of the LGBT activists.
ЛГБТ-активістів Богдан Глуба.
Завдання більшини, щоб ви не повбивали один одного.
Так. А чого це?
Зараз би я того себе...
Today I would smack that former self for being so confident. Bogdan Globa, who was in discussion with Michael Schur when I was at war, he wrote me to ask if there had been any incidents of soldiers raping other soldiers. I was a sergeant then, at headquarters then, and should have been aware, but I said no, I haven't heard of any such incidents. And Globa said that a young man from some brigade, I don't remember now which one, had reached out to him. He had been gang raped. It was recorded on video, and now they were also blackmailing him, saying that they would show everyone unless he paid them money. The guy was from a village. He wasn't a gay rights activist or connected to this community. And then the wheels in my fascist brain started turning. If Globa wasn't doing this public work, then this guy who was raped would have had no idea that there are people who could help him. And then I met a Frenchman. It turns out that there were gays serving in our battalion. After that, how can they be homophobic?
Як після цього бути гомофобом?
The subculture is very insular, and so, in theory, you can age there.
Старий нацист – це завжди невдало.
An old Nazi is always a failure,
Без винятків.
without exception.
Ліві, умовно, борються з ультраправими.
The far left, generally speaking, fight against the far right, and this gives their life meaning. The far right fight against the far left, and likewise this gives their life meaning. They both give meaning to each other's lives. But if fate wrenches you from this subculture, this dichotomy, and you see it for what it is, it's like tilting at windmills. People, what are you doing? But you could really spend your entire life at this. You could spend your entire life fighting the ultra-left and never get tired of it.
Ультралівими. І не набриднеш ніколи.
Кохання, воно само по собі не змінює людей.
Love alone doesn't change people. It's just perceived that way in our society.
Так сприймається. Всі хочуть
Everyone wants to see beautiful stories. Everybody likes movies and novels on this theme.
на цю тему.
Ну, звісно, хотілося б сказати...
Of course, I'd like to tell you a beautiful story about how love changes the world, and it is the main secret and then pause, period, the end. In reality, of course, it's not like that. You first have to undergo some personal tragedy that shakes you so hard that you understand that the way things were doesn't work. That will break you into pieces, and then you have to put yourself back together. If you have someone to lean on, you will put yourself back together, and you'll come out completely different.
Ти збереш себе геть іншим. У мене пиріг готовий.
My pie is ready.
Допікся.
It's done.
Delicious.